Today we had our first international seminar on child abuse.
Child abuse?
Yeah. The kids had done an expose on child abuse. Child battering. And how widespread it is here in this country. Pretty soon, we became recognized as one of the few places that could successfully help parents who battered their children. This is our one-to-one type therapy. Almost all of it's done by lay therapists. Our kid's here at the school.
Was the boy born without his hand?
No, his father cut it off in a fit of rage. It's a horrible history of torture. All of our professional staff has pretty much given up on him. Only Carol refuses to take no for an answer.
Oh, you don't really think she'll succeed?
You obviously don't know Carol.
Okay, tough monkey. Time to shower up for the press. Go ahead. You're just a couple of hours away from freedom. Go ahead, give me one of those fancy kicks. Now, Indian buck, move out.
So in summary, then, you're saying to love those that we find really despicable, that we really can hate. And I can really hate these people that cut off the fingers and beat their children. And somehow in the experience of loving them, they're going to change before our eyes and stop beating their children.
That's it exactly. As you know, in a normal parent-child relationship, the parent is there to supply the child's needs. But in the case of the child abuser, the parent is so desperate for love, he expects the child to fulfill his needs. Well, when the child can't do it or is incapable or for whatever reason, the parent ends up beating him. I'm sure some of you have experienced this, say, of some parents that have watched their children in Little League.
We find that one child usually becomes the scapegoat. It's usually the child most resembling the parent doing the abusing.
You know, when you think about it, there are many, many kinds of child abuse. But it's only when it breaks out in physical violence that we recognize it as something horrible.
Dr. Robert, your complete claim, then, is that by loving these battering parents instead of punishing or confining them, that actually works in stopping further beating of their children.
Absolutely. You're involved in child abuse, and I'll bet you're using some form of punishment, threat, or maybe even jailing, I don't know. Now, you know your cure rate is less than 25%. Ours, on the other hand, is over 90.
Dr. Roberts.
I'm sorry.
No, I beg your
No,
pardon.
go ahead, you may be.
The whole fate of the human race depends upon our ability to handle and recognize normal aggression and the hostility in us. Now, have you thought about applying this to other areas of our society?
Yes, as an example, this entire school here is built upon the same principle. And we would fervently like to try it in other areas.
What Gina's really taught us here and in the Child Abuse Center is that everyone has inside of them a fantastic force, and it can really change people once it's unleashed.
So that's where the school gets its pacifism?
I'm sorry, I just can't stomach that word pacifism. Because when people hear that we're pacifists, they automatically feel we're sitting around waiting and sometimes even retreating from life. Whereas we feel the thing that we've got here is a living, dynamic, positive force that has the ability to change the most warped lives, turn on the most confused and lost people, and I think we all literally feel here that it could possibly rebuild the world.
Is this what you call nonviolence?
No, I'm sorry. We call it by something much cornier than that.
We call it love.
Can any of us go along? No.